This is Brittany coming in to you today for an awesome workshop, and we are talking about tips and tricks for meal prep. So, with that being said, and no further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. So, if you guys don't mind, I have everything that I want to say right here. So, if I look down, that's just because I'm not trying to just ramble on. I want to give you guys the facts. I want to give you guys some awesome tricks and some tips so you can make sure you get to your successful weight loss goal, wellness goal, whatever that is for you, or weight gain goal. Again, whatever it is for you. So, with no further ado, guys, let's go ahead and get started. So, first thing is first, what is meal prep? So, basically, meal prep is exactly what it sounds like. Meal prep is food preparation or meal preparations, a certain amount of food for a certain period of time. So, an extended period of time, usually it'll last about a week. Or just depending on how you start to, or how you want to prep your food. So, with that being said, we're going to keep on moving, and it's easy peasy, short to the sweet to the point when it comes to meal prep or food prep. And I will be honest with you all, if you do not meal prep, if you have a certain weight goal that you're trying to attain and you do not meal prep and you don't intentionally plan what your food looks like, chances are it's either going to delay your results or you can completely just fall off track and we'll have to start all the way over. So food prep, yes, it can at times be very time consuming depending on what your schedule looks like, but it also can be extremely beneficial so you guys can have a set plan and make sure you actually put that plan in progress with your food so you don't stray away too bad. You know, everybody has ups and downs and good days and bad days, but when you have a set and intentional plan, it will help you get to your goals a lot sooner, and yeah, basically just a lot sooner. And we're going to go ahead and move on to the next thing, everybody. So, meal prep does not have to be expensive. I hear all the time, buying healthy food is so expensive. Oh my gosh, I just don't have the money to eat healthy. Well, it can be expensive. However, I do have a few pointers and tips to help it not be as expensive. So, tip number one, buy in bulk. So if you have, like, I know here we have like BJ's, if you have a Costco's membership, a Sam's membership, or if you have a friend that does, utilize those memberships. Buy in bulk. It might seem expensive or more expensive up front. However, in the long run, it actually does really save you some money, especially if you're able to utilize a freezer or a deep freezer to save some of those, especially your proteins, to save some of those proteins or, produce for a later date. So that is tip number one. Tip number two, if you are buying fresh produce, buy in season. So just depending on what the season looks like, usually in season is less expensive because it's in season. You don't have to go, they don't have to go out of their way to get something or to purchase something that's not growing with Mother Nature. So if you can buy in season as best you can. That will also save you some money in the long run. And then number three, I do this all the time. Buy frozen. Buy your frozen fruits and veggies. That can at times be a little bit more, or excuse me, a little less expensive. However, you still get great nutritional value. It's picked or it's harvested, the fruits and veggies at their prime time, so they still have good nutritional value. It's just frozen so it can be preserved for longer. So those are just a few. If you do, you can also buy canned fruits or veggies. If you do that, please be careful. Make sure you read the labels. Make sure you read the extra ingredients because they tend to add a lot of extra sodium and salt into those things. So you want to make sure you can either buy the no salt added, and I would still actually recommend you rinsing off, whether they're beans or whatever it is, rinse them off before you consume them. So that does actually save you some money too if you do choose to opt for the frozen or the canned produce or fruits and veggies. All right, so let's talk about food staples. When you are meal prepping, it's always good, or just healthy living in general, it's always good to have certain foods in your house at all times, no matter what it is. You want to keep it in your house because you can always kind of make things work with those. So let's talk about the food staples. For your proteins, you can always, and of course, everybody's preference is different, even if you are more plant-based or vegan or vegetarian. There are, of course, plenty of options out there for you. So, but we're talking about if you are a meat eater, go for your turkeys, go for your chicken breasts, white chicken, yeah, white meat. There we go. White meat is a little bit more lean than dark meat. Dark meat tends to have a little bit more fat. So go for, of course, your preference. However, just know that. So your chickens, your fish, your eggs, your egg whites. Egg whites have a little bit, of course, less fat than your eggs, so just keep that in mind as well. Those are just a few staples. If you are more of the vegetarian, plant-based, or vegan, you still have plenty of protein options out there. You have your tofus, your tempeh is called seitan, Seitan. That is also options. You have things like your edamame, that's a vegetable, nutritional yeast, also your beans, of course, your legumes. They do have some carbs in there too, but they are a fantastic source of protein. So those are just a few staples that you can have in your house as far as the proteins are concerned, whether you are a vegan, an omnivore, vegetarian, a pescatarian, whatever it is. Those are just a handful of options. So we're going to go into carbs now. My goodness. Yes, fruits are definitely a carb. So you want to be sure, of course, everything in moderation is good. So you don't want to overeat on anything. But yes, fruits are a carb. So whenever you are meal prepping, you want to keep that in the back of your mind as well. So fruits, berries are an awesome source of fruit. They have a little bit less sugar than your pineapples and your mangoes, which are all great. However, of course, if you want to go for a little bit less sugar and be a little bit more accountable to that, that's a good way to go. Your berries, your blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, things like that. So that's something to keep in mind. As far as other carbs, of course, you have your sweet potatoes, you have your rices. Brown rice is a little bit healthier than your white. But again, you can keep certain things like that in your house. Your sweet potatoes, all of those different kinds of things, guys. Your quinoa, lentils, all those great things. If you do go for bread, you can maybe go for more of your whole grain or whole wheat, or even your sprouted breads. Those are actually found in more of the frozen aisle, but sprouted breads are fantastic. I love the Ezekiel bread personally. That's really good. So just looking into different types of ways you can still get that bread. If you just have to have some kind of bread, go for the healthier options instead of your white breads or your white rice or things like that. All right, next thing we're getting into veggies. You always want to go for the darker, the greener, the leafier, the better. So, of course, all veggies, for the most part are good. You can mix and match, especially if you get bored easily. Get creative, it's all good. But your kales, super duper food. Spinach, your broccoli, your Brussels sprouts, your green beans, things that are dark green and leafy. Your spring mixes, definitely utilize those. Of course, all those different kinds of things, and a lot of those can be found frozen as well. So with that being said, just making sure when you are doing your food prep, if you tend to get if you are not full, like when you're eating, you can always try to fill up on your veggies. Try not to fill up so much on the carbs. You can fill up on the veggies because, of course, they are definitely way healthier for you overall, especially if you want to continue eating. So enough of that. Let's get into the fats. Oh, don't we love good fats? We love fats, right? We love the cheeses. We love the oils and the butters. Okay, staples. If you are going for butter, go ahead. You can definitely make sure you have butter in the house. That's a huge staple. However, if you're going a little bit more healthy, your extra virgin olive oils, your avocado oils, avocado itself, your mixed nuts, almonds, cashews, they are higher in fat content, but all those kinds of things. in addition to your peanut butters, your nut butters, your almond butters, and your peanut butters, and all those extra kinds of things. So those are just a few options as far as staples to absolutely keep in your household. And that, of course, you always want to just go for the cleaner items. Cleaner items over the pre-processed and pre-packaged stuff. Stay on the outside of the grocery store. When you start to get in those inside the aisles, it can get a little funky. Now let's get into the real deal. I get so excited about this. How to prep for meals. How I can help you prep better for your meals so you can reach your fitness goals. Okay, number one. This is really, really important, and this can be, and you can incorporate your family, and it can be an extremely fun thing. One of the things is to create a menu. Create a menu for the week. What are you guys going to eat, or what are you going to eat throughout your day? Create a menu for your family and for yourself when it comes to the meal prep, because sometimes your family eats something different than you are eating depending on what your health goals are, right? So creating a menu either for the week, bi-weekly, for the month, whatever that is, and go shopping according to what you need just for your prep, just for yourself, okay? So that's super duper important. When you go to the store, understand that if you have something in front of you, either on your phone or on your notepad, whatever it is, something tangible, instead of just idly kind of walking through the store trying to figure out what you want to eat for dinner. When you go in with a plan, when you go in with a list, you can get in and get out, and you don't have time to look. You're less likely to kind of steer and just to see what's out there. We already know what's all out there. We know what's in those aisles, y'all. So let's make sure we want to stick to what our shopping and grocery lists are, depending on what our meals are for the week or for the month, or however you decide to do that. Now, don't stray away from that list, because what really goes into it, another one of the tips and tricks is huge and it's major. Do not shop hungry. Don't shop for meal prep hungry. If you can help it, if you can absolutely help it, do not shop hungry, because that's when the stomach starts to talk to the brain. The brain is like, oh, well, dang, those chips look good, or those Oreos look good, especially when you're going to cash out. You know how they do. They have all the candies and the gum, all that stuff. If you can eat and make sure you're nice and full and satisfied before you go, that is going to help you tremendously with just your impulse buying. Okay, so, and number 3 for meal prep tips and tricks, make sure I'm not forgetting anything. A lot of times, like I said, food prep can seem super overwhelming, super daunting, super time consuming. One of the things that I actually do when it comes to meal prep is to designate one. Oftentimes you hear designating one day to prep for the whole week. I break it up into 2 days. I personally just don't have the time to cook for an entire week. So what I do is I prep. My days are Sunday, I prep to Wednesday, and then I prep for the rest of the week to Saturday. So that helps me break it up. So I'm not just standing over, the stove and in the kitchen for hours and hours and hours on end. So that definitely helps me. And just make sure you stick to it, guys. If we want to get these goals, we have to do what we have to do, and we have to just find the time. We really make time for the things we really, really want, and that are necessary to ourselves. So why not start now? Make the time now, so time is not, you don't have to wait until later if your health starts to deteriorate, then you really have to make the time, because then your health depends on it. So start now while you can. Make the time, especially if it's super important for you, and stick with it and be consistent. So that's one of the things. And also, don't try to prep your meals, all 3 meals. Oh my gosh, don't try to prep for 3 meals, including snacks, for the whole week. Please don't do that. Go and prep for maybe 2 meals, the times where you are busiest and you're not going to have time to make food. The most, or generally what I see, is breakfast and lunch, and then after work and stuff, when you get home, then you can cook your dinner and things like that. Also, when you are prepping for your day, let's say if it's for breakfast and lunch, don't you don't have to do the absolute most. I understand that we get, we get creative. Sometimes we get bored. We want to be creative. That is fantastic. Prep when when you're doing prep when oh my gosh, super tongue tied. When you are doing prep and you're trying to make sure you're just trying to get those 2 meals in when you're not or when you are away from home, keep it simple. Keep it simple. Oh my gosh, that will save you so much time. That will save you so much headache. And that will just make everything seem less daunting and less overwhelming. And then at night, or again, whenever you have the time, then you can really get creative. Incorporate the family in those fun meals that you have already pre-thought about for your menu for the week. So it's still already planned, but you can get the family involved and to get really, really creative with that last meal of the day. So again, prep for 1 to 2 meals when you are the busiest. Then when you have time at the end of the day, or if you have a late start to your day at the beginning, get creative with whatever meal you choose to. And also, please y'all, prep for the snacks. It is so important to prep for your snacks. If you don't prep your snacks, chances are you're going to eat something that you're not supposed to eat. Chances are you're going to see those cookies in the break room. Chances are you're going to see that cake in the aisle and you're going to want to snatch it up. So if you prep for your snacks, that also is going to help you immensely staying on track for whatever goal that it is that you have. So when it comes to snacks, I don't know what to cook, Brittany. I'm not that creative, or I just don't have time to think about all these different meals that I can and could and should be making. It's okay. For me, Pinterest is my best friend, and I am proud to say it. Pinterest, my goodness, different articles. If you just go on Google and type in quick meal prep ideas, you will get literally list after list after list on different things you can cook quick and easy. So with that being said, it doesn't have to be overwhelming. It doesn't have to be daunting. It just has to be consistent. And we have to be disciplined enough to make sure we stick with it no matter what it is that tries to distract us from what our overall goal is, which is our health. So let's just keep that in mind. Prepping for snacks. If you are doing a snack, you want to try to steer clear from, the prepackaged and pre-processed stuff. If you have to every now and again, like your trail mix or your smart popcorn or things like that, that is completely fine. But when it comes to your snacks, you always kind of want to go for maybe a protein and a carb, or a carb and a healthy fat, like your apple and your almond butter or peanut butter, or your carrots and your celery, or your carrots and your hummus, different things like that. Of course, that'll keep you overall satisfied. Nothing too small, but nothing of course too big, because it's going to help you steer so you're not super duper hungry by the time your main meal comes in, and you're not just eating to eat. So let's just keep that in mind. Again, Pinterest and different articles are my best friend when it comes to just snack ideas and meal ideas that are quick, easy, but also delicious. Okay, that's enough of that. So we are going to move on to our next topic, which is basically going to be portion control. This is another major thing when it comes to meal prep. Oftentimes, when it comes to just eating healthy, our portions can be all over the place. And what I'm going to give you guys are general rules. You can definitely go to websites like myplate.gov, or there's a blog in MyFitnessPal or on MyFitnessPal that you can type in as far as meal prep ideas. Meal portion control ideas and where to go and how to do all that stuff. So I'm going to give you general guidelines. Again, everybody's body is different. Everybody's body receives things differently. So again, just keep in mind, this is more generally speaking. You can find different things. Of course, Pinterest actually has meal prep or portion control options as well. So just keep that in mind too. They even have portion control containers. So that's one of the things, like like if you just don't know what to do, you can Google portion control or portion control, meal prep containers, and they have those out there for you to utilize if you're not completely sure of where to even start. You won't have to think about it. They have it set for you. Now, of course, if you want to go to a dietitian or nutrition coach, whatever it is that you guys want to do to help you get to your goals, please feel free. I think it's absolutely wonderful if you choose to do that. However, we're going to get into just generally speaking, if you don't have a food scale, you're not really into it, it's not that deep for you, no problem. You can definitely use yourself. Your hands are awesome, awesome tools, general measuring tools that you can kind of go along with to kind of help you at least get started until you want to delve a little bit deeper into accurate portions for yourself. So with no further ado, let's get into it. So generally speaking, again, what I'll be showing you the portions, you can actually, depending on where you are in your process, how much you do currently eat, you can generally double these. Usually men, of course, generally eat more than women, so you guys at home, the men at home can actually kind of double these portions. Again, these are general. You can find them online as well. So let's talk about our proteins today. Our proteins, generally speaking, you can take out to about the size of your palm. Again, if you're a man and you eat a little bit more, you can also double it. Not my palms, not my hands, not my fingers, but yours at home. So if you are looking for more, if you're looking for general size for protein, it can be roughly, 4 to 8 ounces depending on what you currently eat, right? So that's going to be usually or roughly around the size of your palm, and that's for your proteins. For your carbs, you're going to, again, guys, you can kind of double that. Carbs, a good estimation can usually go for more of your cupped hand, your palm, but like more of a cupped hand full of carbs. So that can roughly range from about a half a cup to a cup. Again, depending on what you eat, guys, you can kind of double that. Just be careful. Don't try to, fill it up all the way to the brim of your finger, like all the way through your fingertips. But again, generally speaking, a cupped hand, maybe the size of you can fit to where your palm is cupped. Okay, so again, my guys, if you choose to double that, or again, wherever you are. So let's talk about veggies. For me, or just in general, if they're dark and leafy and green, fill up on the veggies. You can fill up on your veggies. For me, my veggies take up majority of my plate, or at least half. At least half of my plate, my veggies take up. I always try to just fill up on the veggies, especially, let's say, the rice was really, really good. I'm just, dang, I'm hungry. Go for water. Drink plenty of water and go for more veggies if you just need to fill up or just get to eat some more. So again, if you absolutely need, it's probably like a cup size, 1 to 2 cups. You can utilize that, or see maybe like about a fifth size of veggies if you just need something tangible to look at. About a cup, again, double it for your green veggies, depending on where you are, and that's going to be your portion size for your veggies. And again, as dark and leafy as you can. So for the carbs, I talked about that, talked about proteins, and your fats. We know we love us some cheese, right? We love us some cheese. We love us some oil. This is where we have to be careful, everybody, because you also want to take into account the oil and stuff that you cook with. So we have to really keep that in mind. This is a tough one for a lot of people, including myself. About a thumb size of fat. If you want to double that for, my gentlemen at home, or again, depending on where you are just in your health journey, my guys, again, can usually double that, or giving more or less. That's probably about a tablespoon, maybe a tablespoon or so, 1 to 2 tablespoons. So with that being said, y'all, that one can be a toughie. It can be a toughie, especially if we love cheese and we love, the heavy creams and all of those things. And yes, they are yummy, but are they going to help you to your fitness goal, your wellness goal, your health goal. So those are just a couple of tips and tricks for meal prep. I hope this made sense for everybody. If you have any questions at all, I'm super and happy to help you. My email is brittany.washington@coxautoinc.com. And again, meal prep does not have to be daunting. It does not have to be super overwhelming. If you have somebody that can help keep you accountable, again, get your family involved. Get them on your meal plan with you. The more accountability buddies you have when it comes to meal prep, this is another tip and trick, the more successful you're going to be. And they have to be people that are really willing to hold you accountable, and to really kind of check you when you need to be checked. All right, now, Brittany, you know what your goals are. I know what your goals are. So sometimes you have to be vulnerable with people so they can really, and let them into, so they can really be able to fully help you and fully support you on your goals. If you don't have support, yes, of course, we can always do things by ourselves and on our own, but we are more successful when people are around, and when people are able to hold you accountable, especially when they know exactly what your health goals are. So be held accountable, and don't be afraid to be held accountable. Everybody's going to have fantastic days. Everybody's going to have great weeks. Everyone's going to have bad weeks. Everybody's going to have okay weeks. But the goal here is to make sure that you all know that meal prep is absolutely, positively doable. It is doable, and it is the way to go to help you get to your goals faster. Again, like I was stating a little earlier, if you don't have an intentional plan, if you don't have a goal, a set goal of what you're trying to accomplish, then chances are you might be led astray, you might fall off track, and you're going to have to start over. And that's where that yo-yo effect can become extremely discouraging, that roller coaster ride. So it's about, even if you fall off for about a week or so, jump back into it. It's okay. It is fantastic. And that's a part of the process. So we have to fall in love with the process. We have to understand that meal prep is for our own good. It's for our own health goals. And it really creates a discipline in us that'll lead us through the rest of life. So I love meal prep, and I love talking about meal prep. I hope this was helpful to you guys. And that's all I have for you all today for our meal prep tips and tricks.